All right, so now got the cats. These cats are always following me around, rubbing up against stuff. This one's the worst, Elsa. So I came out here because my chickens were clucking up a storm. Even my rooster was going crazy. Nobody's out around, pecking around and everything. And I figured out why. So, although I do have birds of prey, hawks and little falcons and stuff like that around, this is actually the first time in 3 years that they have landed, and it doesn't look like they're harassing my chickens at all. But I'm gonna go ahead and shoo this thing away so it doesn't get bold and decide it wants to snack on any of my chickens or feel like this is a place he can come back to. Come on. He's back on my other building there. Alright, I'm gonna have to set the camera down because I don't want to have to come in here. My boar is in here, so he may challenge me walking in here with his female, and I just want to shoo that bird away. So I'm gonna do this one hand, or set the camera down here. Back. You want to go out there? No. Yeah, if you see your boar doing that, chomping his jaw and then kneading the ground, you better be careful, because that's like their little display of dominance. They do it to the females too, but if you're not careful, you may get at the very least, you might get a hefty nudge, and in his case, you might get a tusk to your leg or something. So I always go in there with my shovel, keep them at bay. It looks like we got rid of that hawk or falcon or whatever it is. Some of you ornithologists out there might be able to tell me what that was. Now that he's gone, or she's gone, I'm getting some chickens and cats coming out too. So hopefully he decides to stay away now. All right, good afternoon and welcome back to Boisterous Cock Farmstead. So there's a couple things I want to do today. All right, so primary one being is I want to actually screw the metal onto my chicken tractor and move it over into my grasture area over here, and we'll put some chickens in there and have them work on the soil, till it up, level it out, and just see how it is with keeping chickens over in that area. But I wanted to show you guys, since we got that snow the other day and we've actually had pretty steady warm daytime temperatures in the mid 60s to low 70s, I wanted to show you that even just the little bit of raking and breaking up this pasture area that I did is already starting to produce some benefits. And just with the slightly looser soil in this pasture area here, you see behind me, versus the hard pack stuff right next to it. So as far as nutrients and everything like that, it should be the exact same with this pasture to this pasture, but the difference being that this has been tilled up a little bit. Not even tilled up, it's just been drug a little bit. Not sure how well this comes in. There's little green sprouts here. All these are wild weeds that are sprouting up, so I'm not sure if this is tumbleweeds or if this is what the locals call pepperweed, which the pigs don't necessarily really like. And if you look behind me, all this brown stuff here, that's pretty much leftover pepperweed. And even this area right behind me, there's some pepperweed in here that the pigs aren't even eating. So what I'm hoping it is primarily is basically a wild arugula. It's called London Rocket, and the pigs love that. So if that's what comes in here, then that's going to be really good forage for them going forward. That's why it's important. That's why I've been working to try to actually spread out all this organic matter, is because it doesn't take a whole lot to just create that softened, loosened environment that also has nutrients for these types of vegetation to take hold. This is mostly chicken manure that I've cleaned out of my chicken coops. I'll dump it out here, and that doesn't seem to have much vegetation sprouting in it. So that is most likely due to the high nitrogen level that's in chicken poop versus the lower nitrogen that my pig poop has, because almost everywhere else, you can hardly see it. I doubt you can see it on the camera, but here's kind of an area here, there's an area there, and it's just kind of got like a greenish haze to it right now. But eventually those will sprout into plants of some sort that will be anywhere between 12 inches high and 3 feet high, depending on the variety. And if I can keep the pigs from eating it all before it comes to maturity, it should provide some pretty good nutrients for them going forward. So here before too long, I'm gonna get over and start cleaning up that area that has the chicken tractor where I had those Cornish cross girls in, and I was using it as a holding pen for the chickens that I had for sale. And so now we're gonna move on to the next phase of it, which is going to be some sort of a test run for having chickens over in my grasture area over here off the side of the coop. And when I do meat chickens here in the spring, that might actually be where I do them, because then I'll have my other chicken tractor, which is kind of being used to protect my transplant trees from my chickens. I'll probably outfit that one the same way and move it out to that field as well when those birds get older, because when they get big, I don't like to have more than 15 or so in a tractor, and I usually raise 25 to 30 at a time. So at their largest size, when I divide them up, we'll actually have no more than 15 in there at a time. So I'm gonna get set up. We'll start clearing this stuff off, and I'll show you how I want to kind of cover this up and what I'm going to be using to do that. So please stick around. So you can see I'm moving these siding pieces. It's just left over from what we were doing on the side of the house here, and I've just kept a bunch of different scraps and things like that. And I think I have an idea for a cat house that I want to build. One of the reasons being, I've been having a lot of issues with my cats eating eggs. I think it's my cats eating eggs, and part of that is I can't leave the cat food out for the cats because of the chickens. So what I want to do is I want to build an actual house that the cats can all get in there, cuddle up, sleep in and everything, but it also will protect my cat food from my chickens. And it's just going to be basically a square or a rectangle tower that has a hollow interior. Get away. Speaking of cats, she's trying to go for the camera. It'll have a hollow interior with at least one shelf in it, and it'll have a lifting top or a pivoting top so that I can lift it up, reach in there, put a bowl, put some water in there or whatever. I'm not too concerned about water because there's a lot of water sources out here, but definitely keeping the bowl in there. And then I'm going to cut a couple circles, smaller circles in the side, so that the cats can come in and out to the different levels, and something that'll keep them dry, or relatively dry at least. So that's, I think, what I'm going to use that that siding for, is the outside of that cat house. So stay tuned for that. I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully here in the next couple weeks I'll try to get that done, but it's something I've been thinking about for a little while, just trying to figure out what materials I wanted to do or to use that for. So I'm going to move that out of the way for now, and we'll get this chicken tractor exposed and remove some of the old infrastructure to it, and start screwing on some metal sheeting. So as you can see, I've got the frame moved in. I actually used my hand truck to roll it over here so I didn't have to awkwardly carry it all the way around. And you could see that based on this size, I want to say it's 6 by 6, something like that. And there's plenty of room in the pasture here for me to drag this around and get fresh ground on this tractor over time. So I probably could even run 2 tractors in here, which eventually that's what I would try to do. And this area here, I did notice that there's some sprouting coming up around this area too. And of course, this grass should come back here in the spring, at least the majority of it. Some of it is a winter type grass, but that is assuming that the disturbance that my pig did in being in here wasn't detrimental to the growth of the grass. Hopefully she prompted some new growth to come on, but we'll see. All right, so now got the cats. These cats are always following me around, rubbing up against stuff. This one's the worst, Elsa. So now that we've got the frame moved over here, I'm gonna go start bringing some of the metal sheeting over, and we'll start measuring and cutting and attaching the old secondhand roof sheeting, metal sheeting, and get some weatherproofing on this thing. All right, so I've got my materials over here. I think it's only going to take 3 sheets of these, because these are actually 4 feet wide aluminum pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'll probably cut down the middle of one of them and put it on either side, and then the other one, that whichever one has the most cracks and things like that, will go along the back. And then the best one is the one that'll go across the top. And I think I'm actually not going to worry about the ridges, because this is actually flat. I'm not going to worry about the ridges trailing off to the back. I'm just going to put those kind of parallel with the back end.